You're welcome back to TV3 New Day. And earlier, I mentioned that we'll be having a discussion into some of the tips and some of the things that we need to look out for specifically in this rainy season. And so we have on the call, we have on the line one of our people that we. So she is the chief forecaster of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Madam Felicia Ahafianyo. Good morning, Madam, if you can hear me. Felicity, okay. Felicity, sorry about that. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I am much better today than yesterday.
Oh, what happened yesterday?
Oh, every day I'm much better than the previous
day. That's a good one. That's a good one. But I mean, in this time of the rains, definitely we expect that they come, but due to times and seasons, they change sometimes. And so now that the rains are here, what are the expectations for the coming weeks?
Yeah, thanks so much and good morning to our audience. For the coming week, yes, we still have rain over the 16 regions, but then the intensities are going to vary across the country. For the north, the transition and part of the middle sector, they will still be experiencing frequent thunderstorms with rain, with possibility of occasional flooding situations over places. But those of us over Greater Accra Central and Western region, we are expecting to have cloudiness, light rain or drizzle. And then at times we will also have one of the deep convective rain as the one we experienced yesterday affecting us, but it's not going to be on a regular basis.
Okay. But I mean, I just want to get it from you. What are some of the things that we need to look out for in this season, just so to make sure that we're safe and at least we're able to manage the outcome of the rains?
Yeah, thanks so much. I think the first point of call will be on daily basis. We should try as much as possible to have access to our weather forecast that we've been releasing, so that we know the times that the rains will come, then we can prepare ourselves. If you are not able to be getting the daily one, then try as much as possible to be getting the weekly forecast, so you also know when the rains will come, and then you can prepare for that. And then you can get all this information on our social media handles, the Twitter, the Facebook, the YouTube, and then on our website. For those of us that we need to do less of outdoor activities, especially those of us over the north, the middle, and then the transition zone. For our kids, we need to get warm clothing for them, both the day and then the night, especially the morning and then the evening hours. Our drivers, this is the time that they need to be extra careful, because friction is very, very minimal. So they need to be careful, especially during the rainy times and then the foggy and misty conditions, because these things affect visibility. So if they cannot see far, they have to be extra careful, make use of their headlights. And then for our stakeholders, the assemblies, the district assemblies, this is the time that they have to come on board to make sure that our potholes on the roads are filled, so that it doesn't bring any bad news to us. And then we are also calling on the general public to just be vigilant, and then if you see a standing water that you know nothing about, please don't cross it. And then if you are around the flood-prone areas too, try as much as possible to relocate some of your valuables. If possible, you can just locate after the rains, you come back. That's somewhere around in October, then you can come back to your place of abode.
All right, very important things and points to know. So thank you so much, Madam Felicity Ahafianyo. She happens to be the chief forecaster of the Ghana Meteorological Agency. I mean, this season is an anticipated one with sort of an expected solution, because year in, year out, you know, we have a discussion. Almost every year there's a conversation around flooding, you know, the adverse effects, what we can do and what we cannot do. But I mean, let me just come to you, Bella. What do you make of, you know, this whole season with the floods year in, year out?
I know. It's not easy. Yesterday rained for like what? 5 hours maybe, if I'm not
showers.
exaggerating.
It was just the whole time.
It wasn't showers. At a point, it was raining very heavily.
It was actually.
You know, and I was worried. And I always say this, that when it rains, for some of us who have shelters, we're good. But for people who may not have homes, because even this morning when I woke up, it was very chilly. And I was thinking about those who may be sleeping outside. How are they managing? And if it should continue raining, how will they protect themselves? Because we've seen floods occur in other countries and they're causing mudslides, etc. We don't want that to happen here. We've had our fair share of, you know, the June 4 disaster. So how are we preparing ourselves, or at least how are we, you know, making sure that we prevent any disaster from occurring? And if it does occur, because some of them you really can't control them, what are we doing to protect ourselves as a nation? We always come to this point where we talk about flooding. We go to sleep when it gets to the dry season, and then we come back again and keep talking about it. Look at the level of filth in the water. And that's why I always say that as much as we're calling on the government officials and the state institutions to do their job, it is also, you know, of course, we're expected to also do our part and make sure that we keep our environments clean. It is partly due to the littering of our environments. That is why the water can't run through the gutters and it comes on, you know, land, etc. And that's what's destroying our environment. So what are we also doing? It's not enough to just keep shouting and expecting government to do the job. If you're not doing your part, we will always come back to the same situation over and over again. And for me, that's my worry. I hope that something can be done as soon as possible. But we have the Director of Communications for NADMO, Mr. George AEC. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Dora.
I hope you're well.
I'm good, by grace. How about you?
I am fine, thank you. It's been raining cats and dogs all around. I mean, yesterday, a number of hours where we saw rainfall and some showers as well, not only in the Greater Accra region, but in other regions as well. As NADMO, what are we doing? Because we know that one of your mandates is to prevent disaster from occurring, especially for those ones that you can control. What are we doing to put measures in place to prevent any form of disaster? And if it should happen, what are we doing to ensure that we are protected?
Can you come again? I didn't get the last bit of your question.
Okay, so I'm saying that beyond making sure that we, you know, put measures in place to prevent disasters from happening, what are we doing to ensure that people are protected and our environment is protected if it should happen?
What we are doing to prevent disaster, is that what you are talking about?
So what are we doing to ensure that we put measures in place to prevent some of the disasters that are preventable?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good morning to all the viewers. We do, you know, partner the assemblies, and as we say, we need to ensure that the drains are clean, and, you know, where the challenges with the drains, we bring the attention of the assembly or hydrological services department to repair or work on those drains that have parts collapsed, ensure they are clean so that we can have free flow of water. That is important. And then sensitizing people living along these drains. You know, there are some measured distance that people ought to stay away from closer to the major storm drains, but people are not heeding to that. And so how they can adapt to situations so that they will not put their lives in danger. And again, we need to also train our men to be ready to rescue people who may be trapped because they live in flood-prone areas and difficult areas. So these are some of the things that we do to ensure that people stay alive and free from the hazards of flood.
I see, but you're saying that people are not necessarily heeding to the call to keep the environments clean. And so is there another way by which we're ensuring that that still happens, even if people are not doing their part?
Yes, the assemblies have put in bylaws and measures that punitive measures. So people who do not pay heed to ensuring that the environments are clean, especially those who throw refuse and solid waste into our drains. In fact, last year, I said on your platform before, last year, about 200 people were arrested and punished but it doesn't seem to be deterrent enough. And so maybe we need to vary the punitive measures that is meted out to people, because when it rains and you see the flood waters, you see the quantum of refuse on them, it tells you we actually need to do more to ensure that people pay heed to the avoidance of disposal of solid waste into our drains.
If you say vary the measures or vary ways by which we ensure that people do what they ought to do, what would you recommend as Director of Communications for NADMO that will do to people who still do not heed to the call and continue to mess up the environment?
But it's beyond the punishment. Most of these punishments are fine. It's not custodial sentence. It's fine that is meted up to the people. Maybe if we begin to change it and bring community service into it, so that when people are arrested, people see you within the community cleaning the environment for maybe 1 week or so. That will begin to serve as a deterrent to the people, because your people within the area will see you doing the community service as a punishment, and that will make them maybe begin to abide by the rules and regulations.
Have these recommendations been tabled to the authorities, and what has been the response?
This kind of recommendations?
Yeah.
Well, because we are the assemblies, we have these continuous discourse. So yes, assemblies, that they would then have to incorporate them in their laws if they are to change the laws. The NADMO is an integral part of the assemblies, and we sit with them and we make all these suggestions to them.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. George A.C., the Director of Communications. And yes, we'll continue this conversation on social media. Let us know, especially for the community that you live in, how did the rains affect your environment yesterday?